Well, hello there. I have here an Xbox Original, otherwise referred to as the X Block, as it is very, very heavy. It is the Crystal Edition. I've had this for many years, and I recently moved house, and it seems to have developed a little bit of a problem. Now, it is all hooked up. I will try and show you on the camera, however, it's going to be pretty close up. Power's connected, and you can switch it on. It isn't currently hooked up to an AV source, which is why it's flashing green and orange. However, we have a little bit of a problem. You go to eject it, and the drive just doesn't want to push out. There's got to be something stopping that drive from coming out. That's now set to the in position, so we'll try again. And it doesn't want to move. Now, let's see if we can manipulate it out. Let's try and jiggle. That just does not want to come out. So I'm going to take this apart. I'm going to get this shell off and see what could be stopping this drive from moving. I have unhooked the power. Okay, there is still power in this console, so we have to be very, 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 very careful. This console has been opened up before. Okay, this was a second-hand purchase. I did not buy this new. So we're going to start by getting some of these screws off. Okay, so I believe there to be screws under the feet. I don't think there's just two screws securing this bad boy on. Get the feet off. Ah, there we go. Yeah, see that cheeky little beggar there. So let's get all these feet off. Okay, so let's get these screws out. Cool, blimey, they are very stiff screws. Screw number one. Incredibly long screws, these. Oh, that's tough. It's actually taking the console with it. Whew, these blooming screws are tight. Well, I'm not going to lose those screws anytime soon, am I? Size of them beggars. Okay, so all the screws are out. I'm going to flip this back over gently. This should actually come away now. Okay, that is now open. We need to figure out why this disk drive is not ejecting. So I'm going to plug the power back in, being very careful when I do so. Okay, because power supplies can kill you. Let's see if this actually does want to eject now. Could be the top case, you see. Nope, that really doesn't like it, does it? That's still not coming out. I want to be very careful when I'm taking this apart, not only because it has had live power going through it, but I don't want to break anything. Okay, that one came out really easily. Put that over there. So what's going on here then? Alright, so I've got the disk drive is now loose. Okay, so let's power it up again. Ah, this is a disk drive issue. It's nothing to do with the case. So let's see if we can manipulate this to try and get this out. I think we need to get this drive out completely. Okay, now, I've got an IDE connector here. That is data. Okay, it's a data cable. It's not going to hurt. Okay, so that's out. Let's pull the power out. Beautiful. This drive is now out. I'm going to move the carcass out of the way. Got to try and figure out what is stopping it from opening. So let's have a look. Let's get the top off. Move these carcasses out of the way. There is no disc in it, so that can't be jamming anything up. Upon first inspection, it all looks really clean. I'm actually surprised it is this clean. Okay, so we'll bring back the Xbox and we'll connect this, we'll loosely connect this up. Oh, Okay, that came out. There we go, it's in. Okay, so eject. Well, what do you know? That's ejecting now. Now it's clear of the case, of the cover. It's now ejecting, and that's pretty. Oh, now it's not going back in. Sorry if I blinded you with a laser. So it doesn't want to go back in. So you see that. It goes out. I press the button, jams up, I give it a push, it goes back in. Let's pull the power. Pull the drive. Okay. Pull the carcass out the way. There's something. Right, that's the manual release. Okay, so I've got a little bit of grease. Okay, I'm just going to apply grease to the cogs of this drive fairly carefully. Okay. Work that in a few times, get it moving a bit. Just get it going down here. Okay, so that's in. Let's test it. Okay, that seems to be working a lot better now. So we'll get it back together and we'll see what it's doing after it's all back together and nice and tight. Let's get the cover back on. So it's all back together. Plug it back in. Beautiful. And the power lead. That's in. Let this set back in place. Now before I put the locating screws in, I'm just going to test it while it's mostly together and inside the case. Let's see what happens. Come on. It really doesn't like being in the case anymore, does it? Move this grease out of the way. Trying to see if there's any kind of stops or anything. Any of the white material here basically deals with the position of the laser. It lowers the laser, as you can see when I do this, pushes the laser in. When I do this, pushes the laser down. It's coming towards us, which means it's going down. Then it releases the draw. I'm just going to re-grease all these parts as well, get everything moving. And I'm also going to add a little bit under here, under these sliders here. I think it might be worth doing. Also, just in there, and we'll reapply some more to these tracks. Might help things flow a little easier, perhaps. Let's try that. Let's get this hooked back up. Okay, so power's on. This tray. Okay, and close. Oh, come on. We angle it down and it tries to pull it back up when it's angled down. It doesn't like it because it's getting caught there. It's almost like it's gone too far at that point. If I pull on it this way, it doesn't like it. Okay, I touched it then. That's working fine. Okay, that's correct orientation. That's the way it should be. If I pull the Xbox, the entire unit down, it goes out and doesn't want to come back in without a knock. Okay, so after some further testing, I've decided to try and get this out. Now I believe that the push tabs are here and here for the disc tray, so I'm going to give this a go. Push down, pop out, and push down and pop out. That releases the disc tray completely. These two teeth here are missing, and I assume that there has to be a reason for that. All in all, the disc tray is kind of straight. It's not bent or anything. I mean, it seems to be pretty... Let me zoom back out. All in all, the disc tray isn't bent. It's really quite straight. So I am wondering what's stopping at this side. Right. I think I've set that incorrectly. So the drive is back in. Let's give it a go, see what happens. No, that's made no difference whatsoever. It just does not want to pull it back in. What's that clicking? So if we remove the drive again, it's almost like it's got this little hill to go over. There's something else I want to try and get, if I can, get these pieces out. Pull this little tab here. Aha! Right, that has been released. Okay, so the wheel is off. That comes out. So let's just inspect underneath this wheel. Pop this back on. Right, so that locks everything into place. Push it down. There's something clicking here. Which you might have heard. There. Let's see if we can determine where that's coming from. I mean, I'll try and grease this as well. Grease the spine. Pop that on there. Let's try that again. Let's give this a go. Okay, that seems to have worked. Okay, well that seems to be working. That really seems to be working. So what we're going to do, we'll get it back out, we'll get it back in its metal housing, and we'll see if that's done anything. The strange clicking may have been something jammed somewhere in the works, which you would think would make sense. But if this goes back in its housing and it's not happy, then I'm afraid it's going to be the disk drive. But let's see, shall we? Everything is well greased, so we know that much. Oh, you've really got it dropped in there, haven't you? Click, click. And back in. And back out. And back in. Drive comes out. Drive goes in. Drive comes out. Drive goes in. Hallelujah. That is fixed. It worked. Turns out you just need to grease everything. I don't know, maybe there was something caught in the mechanism, and by action of just taking it apart, giving it a greasing, maybe something did free up. But that, for the most part, is working absolutely brilliantly. I can't believe it. That is phenomenal. So we'll get the Xbox back together. All that's left to do is get these screws relocated where they're supposed to live. Even with that down, let's double check. Oh, it's like a thing of beauty. Now we're going to pop the lid back on. Lid's on. Have to do these very long screws up. Let's get them all seated first. Seated, 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 seated. One there. And one there. So let's go, shall we? Okay, so with the lid back on, let's do one final test. Oh, that sounds so amazing. In and out, shake is all about. I do hope you enjoyed this repair, and if you did, then don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel, this one here, if you want to see more of these videos. And thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye bye for now.